This is the Sims Transmogrifier, which is a free tool that I developed that allows players of The Sims to create their own objects by cloning pre-existing objects, changing the descriptions and the graphics, and then making a new object that they can share with other people over the internet. Now, the objects in The Sims are rendered in 3D Studio Max from 3D models, and then written out as two-dimensional sprites with 4 different rotations and 3 different zooms. So there's a bunch of images, and they're no longer 3-dimensional, except that they have a Z buffer, which says the depth, so that, for example, in the bed, the covers will cover up somebody, and the bed end will cover up things that are occluded behind it. So now every object has a catalog description and a name and all these different attributes that this lets you edit. And in order to edit an object, you have to take an existing object and clone it. So let's take, for example, the garden gnome, and we'll view him from these 4 different angles. We're going to repaint this and change him into something else. And he has some extra graphic states for when he explodes. So if you walk next to the garden gnome, he'll blow up. So the program that controls the behavior, you're not able to change that. So we'll still have something that behaves like an exploding garden gnome, but it can look like anything else we want. Now, you clone the object, and you can give it a new name, and then it's now writable in a new file. And now we export that new file out, and you can just change the colors of it, or you can actually edit the shape of it. So, for example, I want to edit all zooms and all channels, or if I just wanted to edit one zoom, the program would automatically create the small zooms for me. So I'll just say one zoom and all channels. So we're going to get the Z buffers and the alpha channels. And this exports an XML file that has all the information about the object and points to the bitmap files that it exports, and has everything in it it needs to import that file later on. So now I'm going to go into Photoshop and show the images. So here we have all the images open, the color images that you can edit, and also the alpha channel, which anti-aliases the edges, and the Z buffer of a typical gnome. So I will use Photoshop to adjust the levels of the Z buffers to exaggerate it, so you can see how the depth from the camera is encoded by the brightness. So see his head sticks up towards the camera. So, and that's used for clipping against other objects and the people. So it's a little more complicated to actually create an object in 3D Studio Max and export it than it is to simply paint the 2D pixels using Transmogrifier. So I'll demonstrate the exporter in 3D Studio Max.